Good day, folks. Today we are doing a review of something I don't normally do. This one isn't independent or vintage, but it is an interesting piece. This is Marvel Team Up Volume 3 from the, I want to say modern or most recent series, but to be honest with you, I've lost track. So this is from whatever series was running around 2006. I'm sure there's another one since then. This is volume 3 of that Marvel Team Up series, which usually features Spider-Man, as you will notice here, still does in this version. However, the big surprise, and it's right on the cover, is Invincible. So a little while back, Robert Kirkman, during this run of Marvel Team Up, was working for Marvel, was doing some writing, and they made an agreement to actually have Invincible appear as one of the characters that Spidey teams up with in Marvel Team Up. Now, because it's a independently owned character that's published by Image and owned by Robert Kirkman, guess what? They made an agreement so that Marvel wouldn't actually own the rights to the character, but that he could use it in Marvel Team Up for this issue. So it's very rare. It's very rare that you would see in a regular monthly mainstream series that they would have a company crossover like that inside the same company, like a Spider-Man, Captain America, Spider-Man, Punisher. Much more common than Spider-Man Invincible, especially because normally that kind of stuff's done as like a one-shot graphic novel, prestige edition. So it's just a really interesting concept that was only possible because, of course, the creator was working for Marvel doing this series at the time. So that makes it a very unique collectible. Now, when I first purchased this, I purchased it shortly after it came out. I'm pretty sure that I might have even paid a little bit less than the original cover price. And at that time, I had no idea it was going to become much more sought after. My guess is it's become rare and hard to find because whatever the agreement with Robert Kirkman was, probably had some stipulation about either a profit sharing or simply not doing reprints. Because since he owns the character and they're reprinting it, they would have to cut him in for some of the sales or get his approval. So that's cool and everything, and that means that the aftermarket value on this book has gone way up, and you can actually see that in the store. If you go to my YouTube store through mikegagno.ca, you'll see that. What makes this collection for me almost more than the fact that it's got the unusual crossover with Invincible is the storyline that follows after, the League of Losers, where it's a bunch of B-list Marvel characters. We've got Dagger, Darkhawk, Sleepwalker, Speedball, I want to say Arachna? I might be saying that wrong. As well as X-23 and Terror Incorporated. So these are a lot of characters that you may not have heard of. And it's an alternate reality time travel story in which these characters are actually trying to undo a dystopian post-apocalyptic universe. And essentially, because they're so overlooked, they're the only heroes left that can band together and undo this damage. And I'm not going to give everything away. There's a lot of interesting takes on the Marvel Universe. It has a lot of that flavor of Age of Apocalypse or Forever Yesterday if you're a hardcore New Warriors fan. It has a lot of that. And just the cast of characters in the League of Losers, I really enjoy that. And I really like the concept of putting together a bunch of characters that maybe haven't had the most success on their own and making them into a team to be featured in a storyline. And and it also has some of that Secret Defenders feel too because of that. But a very cool story. Again, not a vintage book, but something this is what I like to remind people. As I mentioned, I got this one shortly after it came out and it was discounted. And then years later, it became something that was very sought after and valuable. And that's the one thing I want to point out to people. When you're deciding what to buy or collect, just get what you like, get what catches your interest, because what may not be worth anything now, which, you know, may be in the discount bin, in the dollar bin, and I've done that before. I've bought in whacks of dollar bin comics, and 10 years later, they're worth a lot more. If I had some of the 25-cent comics that I bought at flea markets when I was a kid, I'd be a very wealthy person today. So don't judge a book by its price. And I mean, you can speculate on things all day long and what's going to be hot and what's not and what's going to go up in 10 years. But what's the point of buying something if you don't enjoy it and it's going to sit around on a shelf and you're not going to even pick it up because you have no interest in it? So to me, get what catches your interest, get what you enjoy reading, get the stuff that catches your eye, and don't let the idea that something's not valuable now deter you from getting something you'll enjoy and possibly profit from later on down the road, because that's exactly what happened with this. And like I said, like, there's nothing wrong with dollar bin comics. I miss the days when there used to be such thing as a 25-cent bin. Part of my favorite part of going to flea markets and comic shops was a 25-cent bin, and I love rating stuff like that. And sure, not all of them are going to turn out to be gems later, but if you've enjoyed them, I mean, that should be primary goal one. Because if you don't enjoy it, how are you going to sell it to somebody else? How are you going to convince them they'll enjoy it if you didn't enjoy it yourself? So that's my takeaway. But beyond that, I should have gone in more in depth with this. I kind of got off the rails. So we've got Paco Medina as the letterist and Juan Velasco as the inker. Studio F's Marte Garcia in colors, and Virtual Calligraphy's Russ Wooten on letters. So as you can see, the spine is starting to split and separate a little bit inside here, and that's just a case of age. It was printed in 2006, so it's almost 20 years old. But, you know, very, very standard, very standard mainstream Marvel professional quality art and takes on the characters. There's nothing that's kind of unexpected or groundbreaking about it, but I do like the simplicity of the detail. It's somehow detailed and not at the same time. I've seen more detailed illustration and I've seen less, and in this case I think it works. I think the color palette, it's somewhere between a flat and fully rendered 3D. I think this is just a great approach. I think it's done more in the style of the Invincible comics, which is probably intentional. I find that they do a really good job at conveying emotion and facial feature without getting carried away with lines and detail. Like, you understand Captain America's expression there, and there's not a lot of lines in that face. Same with Iron Man. Same with Peter there in that top panel. I mean, and Captain America's expression there. Like, there's no superfluous or unnecessary lines. And that's a great approach to take, especially when you're working on a monthly deadline. It's one thing if you can sit around and spend 6 months drawing your comic on your own because you're independent and you can take your time to perfect it. It's another thing to be told you've got 30 days to get this done and then you're on to the next one. So very, very, very cool. And then of course this, I believe in number 15, the artist or the inker must change. Let's see. When we get into the League of Losers stuff. Avengers Headquarters, Stark Tower. The world has already been altered by this villain. We see like a corpse of Iron Man. So clearly it's not such a good day in this neighborhood. We've got Mary Jane and we've got Spider-Man, and he gets zapped, and I'm looking for another set of credits, but I haven't seen them yet. It could be that they just changed the coloring style. To me, it looks like there's someone else in the art team that's been added, but oh, wait, maybe. No, that's just says issue 14. Oh, my misunderstanding. They put the League of Losers credits ahead. So that was Paco Medina and Juan Velasco and Marte Garcia for the League of Losers. For the issue 14, Invincible, the art is Cory Walker. Colors are Bill Crabtree. Letters are Virtual Calligraphy's Corey Pettit, and of course, Invincible was created by Robert Kirkman and Cory Walker. So that makes more sense. Yes, the regular artist for Invincible did the Invincible issue. That makes a lot more sense. So sorry, I didn't catch that. It didn't process. So yes, Cory Walker's style is very minimalistic while expressive, whereas you've got Paco Medina has a lot heavier shadows, and that doesn't make it right or wrong. They're just differences, and differences are good. Differences are what makes an artist's style stand out so that you can recognize it. So that was my bad in missing that. But yeah, you know, great page layout, great ways to handle conversations without it being too talking heady. We've got different shots, different backgrounds, different distances. We managed to fit in a lot of panels. That's something that Paco Medina seems to be able to do fairly well, and that's squeezing in a lot of panels to fit conversation, especially when there's a lot of dialogue. And of course, we've got some really cool visuals as well. And I don't want to ruin too much of this for you, so I'm not going to show too much, but this is available in my eBay store. You can find that at mikegagno.ca, link in the description. And again, very highly sought after on the aftermarket. Price has been going up, so I've had a few people interested, but no takers at the moment. But you could be the first one to snatch it up before someone else does, because it is getting a lot of attention. So either way, you might just want to add it to your list of things to look out for in the future. And I hope, I wish you luck in finding a copy of it at a reasonable price, because it is not easy to find on eBay right now. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Hope you enjoyed this.